Hey Josh, how's it going? Yeah, welcome back everyone. Uh, this is kind of, I wouldn't say it's unprecedented, but it hasn't happened in a long time. This is my third stream now in the last 4 nights. Knock on wood. I think based on the scheduling and how, everything's been working out with Baby Hang has been sleeping through the night lately, which is kind of a miracle because I definitely think we're one of the fortunate ones. And oh, congratulations on finishing college, by the way, Josh. Yeah, hang through there. I think I must have for my first job out of college, I must have submitted like 50 resumes before I got any kind of even a hear back. So it's rough, like because then there's like a chicken the egg situation, right? Like they want to hire people with experience, but how do you get experience if you don't have any to start off with or any job? So it's kind of a chicken the egg problem. But hopefully, wish you good luck, Josh. Yeah, like it's a highly sought after field, I'd imagine. But yeah, like how do you get a job if you don't have experience? But how do you get experience without getting a job? Um, I think what. Oh, actually, before I start, shout out to my wife. Let me stand up a little bit. Maybe you can't tell or not. Might be difficult to tell, but I'm wearing a Taylor Swift sweater that she got me, so she actually remembered. You know, she thought of me when she was at the concert last night in at SoFi Stadium here in LA. So uh, I did not stream yesterday night because somebody had to watch the baby, but she thought of me enough to buy me a sweater, and I do love myself some Taylor Swift. So first things first, right? Shout out to the wife. Um, but the other thing is, yeah, hopefully I can do this more regularly. Probably not every night, but I think hopefully the goal now is to be able to stream a couple times a week, baby permitting. But at least it's worked out last few nights so far. Uh, with respect to the deck, I call today trimming sacred cows Thursday or trimming Thursdays because uh, I think the metagame actually right now is pretty diverse, and as such, you kind of need wide or a lot of a wide range of answers to very different decks that attack on different axes. And I think I've had success with this deck, or all of our evolutions have taken place not so much with the addition of a new engine per se, outside of Fiend Artisan, obviously, that's the big one. But essentially, the more disruption we have has corresponded to every iterative improvement in the deck, right? Yeah, in a wide open field, I think you need more answers, and I think the only way we can do that is to start to question some of the slots that we have. And I know it's to the untrained eye or to somebody who doesn't really follows this deck, it's gonna look like the deck looks the same. But if you look carefully, one, we're going down to the Shepherd and only 11 one drops for the first time ever. And also, and I'm being somewhat conservative with this still, but for the first time in maybe, actually definitely with me at least, but for the first time with me, you're seeing now the Delver matchup actually maps so that Thoughtseize actually comes in. It does worry me too as well, so we'll see how that plays out. I did try this last night and I did go 4-1 in the league. Ironically enough, losing to the Mirror um, in round four, but uh, I asked, former Golgari King himself, Mats Ole, whether he thought we could support the four Thoughtseizes. If it like the not worst case, but in an extreme case, right? And the only reason why I even consider this, and it's something I thought a lot before, but hadn't considered because you don't really want to give up the Delver matchup uh, in a vacuum. But the thing is, I think the Delver slash Tempo matchup, not so much Shadow, but Grixis Delver, which is the top Delver deck at the moment, it's probably the best. I think elves in quotations, Cradle deck has been against a Delver Tempo deck maybe ever. And the reason being is because their Orcish Bowmasters actually slows down their clock pretty significantly so that we have plenty of time to develop. Not to mention the additions of stuff like Fiend Artisan and Endurance, which is like 12 Endurances in the deck, if you want to think of it that way. But I think it's the best I've ever felt against Delver. Like, I'm willing to take 2-1 favorite against Delver right now. I think if you want to play against me, in like money match, hypothetically speaking, right? Like I think that we're that favored. Um, I mean, obviously, if I say that, I'm gonna get jinxed now per se. But Matt's put it best. He said, ideally you would have zero Thoughtseizes in, but he actually thinks we could probably even handle four. Now, I'm not quite there yet, but it's something I threw out to him, and he said it's not ideal, but it's something he thinks that can probably even handle if need be. But at least for tonight, the mapping is such that obviously the same six cards come out every time. It's the natural order package plus the collective. Nothing's changed there. Um, Actually, what am I doing? One thing I forgot to do is add back the 11th fetch. I'm gonna see if I can handle it with only two Bayou still. If it's an issue, I'll play the third. But ideally, I only need the two Bayou. But the six cards coming in are obviously the two Snuff Outs, the Endurance, the Veil Summer, which is very good in this metagame. You know this card is good right now because even I'm playing it. I have historically hated Veil Summer. And then two Thoughtseizes, right? Like, I'm kind of bridging the gap between 0 and 4 to see if we have more margin than I think, right? We'll find out tonight. And then I added back the third Force of Vigor, and I think this card is actually quite good right now. Pun not intended. Opposition Agent, because the meta has slowed down a little bit, and green decks are pretty good at the moment. Like in particular lands. Um, and this helps against the lands mirror, not mirror, but like the green mirror against lands. It helps against something like a Cloud Post, which is like almost like an auto win for this card. Um, Obviously the mirror, but I always say I don't play cards specifically for the mirror, but I do think Agent is quite good at the moment. Whether to play it main or sideboard is another different thing. If there's preference one way or another from the chat, I'll go with that, but otherwise I'll play in the side and see how I like it. Only because Endurance is so good against like so many matchups. I can see though maybe the opposition agent switching with the Gris, but again, I don't want this card is like bad against tempo, and I want to minimize the number of bad cards against tempo in the main deck. Yeah, so I feel you there, Josh, and that's why I like in the sideboard, just because like I think the natural order package is a must in the main, and the collector oof I'm willing to bend on this card because it's a 2 mana card. It's found off Green Sun, so it against our hardest matchups it can steal wins. I think without further ado though, let's start. Yeah, Agent is like kind of clucky, right? Like sometimes you can like steal a win because you have it main deck, but it's more of a gotcha. Like I feel like in those cases, and I don't know if we need to like increase the variance in our deck, so to speak. Not to mention, I think endurance is just more relevant in general. And it's when it's not, you can still like evoke Lotus Petal it. I'm going down to one Shepherd, uh, Chris, and also for the first time ever, I'm mapping Thoughtseize to Delver. That is like how little or how highly, depending how you want to look at how highly I think of the matchup is right now, or how little I think Delver has a chance against us at the moment. And I'm willing to shock myself at the beginning of the game, right? With a tempo negative card. Like the last dozen or so, I think I've won like my last, I don't know, half dozen get matches against Delver. Maverick. I think they are on Maverick, which is ironic. The funny thing is, MTG bot here says that they were on Grixis Temple last. I don't like this hand because it has a track set and only one land. So I'm gonna put this back. This is a lot better. I think we're gonna put the natural order back. Given our mana here's a little bit shaky. If we got Teague in the board, Leonin Arbiter over Agent. Interesting. No Green Sun, but whatever's not off the menu for whatever that's worth. Natural order. I don't think we're anywhere close to cutting natural just because it's nice to have the big, I call it the big eraser. No matter how many mistakes you've made early in the game, natural order bails you out. No worries. I added the opposition agent in the sideboard and I added the third force of vigor. And just like more and more haymakers, right? Alright, I'm just gonna main phase this, see how it goes. Opposition agent is very unfair. That is an accurate statement. Do you have an answer to this? Yeah, they're probably dazed. I don't know. Maybe they force. Who knows? My issue with reanimate scan package is two different things. One, there's like I don't want to increase the variance in our deck. That's probably the smaller of the two problems. That's probably the smaller of the two problems. The bigger problem I think is like I don't want to make myself weaker to cage and I don't want to make myself weaker to cage and containment priest is more the issue. It's pretty good. I think our hand is like pretty clunky. Oh my god. It's possible we should have just mulligan. But that was pun unintended. Correct. Bow Maesters is not green. That is a definitely a non-bow. It's funny that I get paired against Delver. Okay. So we're actually going to find out once and for all, right? Like how much slack do we have in this particular matchup? I think blue-red matchup is a little bit harder because they don't have Bowmasters to slow their deck down. Uh, and our hand was kind of clunky for what it's worth, but we'll see. Interesting that they went with that. Yes, I agree with that. Our deck is pretty much just infinite tutors, and I actually think our deck is more consistent than probably every deck outside of maybe Burn. I think Burn is probably more consistent than we are, but like outside of maybe that, like we might be the most consistent deck in the format. Like Green Sun, Fiend Artisan, Natural Order, and Once Upon a Time, and Reclaimer is just the whole deck is all tutors, right? That actually made me laugh, Josh. All the games look the same. Alright, I think a Murktide is coming here. It's unfortunate. Our hand was kind of clunky, and we mulled a 6 already, so I didn't want to go to 5. I don't know if my opponent mulled or not. Let's take a look. They did not. So, kind of awkward for us. I think we draw a land here. Probably need to take the Murktide off the board. That works. They already expended one force. If they force the ones here, we probably just lose on the spot. We can make Lair a creature, take down, get rid of the Regent. Well, actually, they have no. They have one. Uh, they have one lightning bolt in the yard. If we get an endurance now, this becomes a 6/6, and I think that's okay. So my line of thinking is I want to answer both creatures. The safe line is get a grist tick down, and then we're down two creatures. There's only an artisan left, right? The problem with that is then what do we do about the channeler? I think the winning line might be to just, but lose this to wasteland is we get an endurance here. We get an endurance here, and then next turn get the grist. And that's because we will be at 4. And I think I'm gonna get rid of the lair. I'm not gonna play around. This loses to wasteland, but I think we're pretty behind with the Dragon's Rage Channeler for what it's worth. The endurance here, nuke their yard again, so that they can't just like Murktide us again. I'm playing to win essentially, because we're behind. Maybe it's greedy, maybe it's not. Ugh, I hit the thing again. Whatever, a removal spell on Arbor here would be pretty bad. Yeah, it was just unfortunate. I think we were on the play, but like our hand was just so bad. Maybe we should have gone a 5. I felt like it was okay though, right? It curved out, if nothing else. This is the fear, right? Like I start to disrespect Delver. I think they can't beat us, and there's a wasteland. How could I have killed the channeler? It's only a 1/1 because of the endurance. No blocks. They're gonna hit our guy's cradle now. Sure. Maybe it's greedy. I don't know. The alternative line would have just like sacked our whole board, right? Because we would have needed to pitch the arbor plus pitch the thing. So we're only down to land and wasteland here, and then and our grist would be at 1 loyalty, and no way to deal with the channeler. Actually, I should not have attacked. That's a bad attack there. Because they can attack with the thing, and I'm at a virtual 3 now. That was a bad attack. I don't think it would have mattered, but like, I'm giving myself fewer outs. Alright, now we're dead. I think we would have. I think we would have lost anyways, given that like we drew really poorly and they just had like consecutive answers. I'm not too concerned. I still think we can pull this out against this Delver player, but I'm I may eat crow for like saying I don't think we can lose this matchup. It's funny. You rarely see people say, I have margin in the Delver match. I'm gonna give that margin up, but might be punished for those words. All right, this is significantly better than what we drew last. Maybe we should just gone a 5. Also, sometimes you just get Delvered, and I felt like that's kind of what happened. I think here we're just gonna turn on our snuff outs, right? For what it's worth, like our hands were just awful. Like the 7 was awful. I don't know if I want to go to 5 when they kept 7, right? And the hand was like playable. All right. I think one interesting dynamic in the Delver matchup now is like when they don't kill your turn 1 dork. It's like I can't really run my Fiend Artisan out. Like you probably lose on the spot if they kill it. I cut it. T1 Ponder is basically a concession. Hmm. I think here, what do I want to do? I don't think I want to run Bowmasters in today's. I'm just gonna attack and see what they do. I'm gonna fetch Arbor, so it's like a pseudo Ramble Creo next turn. Correct. T1 Ponder is like basically a concession. Like if we lose this game, man. We're gonna do this no matter what. Because they can upkeep and hit our dork anyways. They're probably gonna hit it now. And I don't mind that. So the question here is like, do we just take the Bowmasters or not? I feel like we do because I want to actually get a Grist on the board. Maybe they force this, who knows? I mean, this better draw force. Okay, there's the force. Trado is a very unfair card, I agree. Now, if they have a Murktide, it's like really awkward. But we can't beat everything. Looks like they do. Well, no, maybe not. There's an argument to be made to hold the Bowmasters, but then they could have just forced the Green Sun anyways. And then this is like a, what does it call it? Then it becomes a 3/3 anyways, so it can't get hit by the Bowmasters. Dark Blast, that's a funny card. It's very anemic against us. So It was, but like we really need this to untap here. This is time like this where I had that. I wish I had that one macabre in hand, right? Just like blow out the lightning bolt. Now we're talking. All right, we need them to whiff here. Grixis Delver playing Dark Blast is not good for us. Why is that? It's like it's no different than like them playing Bolt. They pass here. They are getting endurance into the Shadow Realm, as my boy Jay Z would say. Let's go. Doesn't matter. I guess yeah. I don't think. I don't think it matters, but hold on. I could protect the Shepherd too, if I just do this first. I don't think I have any answers, but yeah, what Jay Z said, like it's just a one for one, and if they want to kill our dorks, so be it. Like the dorks are not what really wins or loses the game, unless we're mana strapped. Oh, yeah, good call, Josh. I effed that up. I definitely screwed that up. I didn't pay attention. I just should have answered the thing, but you're not wrong. Josh caught my mistake for sure. I should have got it out of bolt range, so that at minimum, if they want dark blast into bolt, that's a 2 for 1, right? They still have to deal with this, but the problem is the DRC is now back on. That might just been a game losing mistake by me. We'll see. Now I can't just like endurance them every turn. The good thing is I'm gonna start to bash for a little, like 6 a turn or whatever. But it was a locked game, and suddenly the game is no longer locked the way it was previously. Also, why did I do that? I should have floated mana, but then it would be telegraphed, so that's okay. That's actually okay. The problem is if they have Murktide, I probably just lose. So I have to hold the snuff out. And they will probably Murktide beforehand so that they don't have to run the channeler into the endurance. Or they should at least. I'm curious what are the odds they have force. Probably low. Maybe they have the force. I don't know. Jesus Christ. Alright, that's what I get for misplaying. I should have this game locked and just not paying attention to the thing there. Annoying. Yeah. It's my fault, right? Like I had this game locked up and just like did not pay attention. And then now getting punished. Oh my god. So don't be like me. Play tighter and you win this game easily. What are the odds that that last card is a daze? I don't think I want to. I'm gonna dare them to have it. I'm not gonna play around days here. The life matters. Actually, I have a noble, so they can attack me with a plague in here, which is like super annoying. But I win this game easily if I didn't lose my Phoenix for no reason. Their slow play is tilting me a little bit too. Ugh. Murktide or 3 cards. That is awful. Ooh, it's like bad fact or fiction, right? Like, I feel like I have to hope they take the wrong pile, which is that we probably lose. But we'll see. Maybe they take the 2 cantrips. I'm trying to think what would they do if from their perspective. Okay, they took the Murktide. I had to take a chance. Ugh, yeah, ain't cutting it. Alright, this loss is on me. I sack the creature and I win. The rule still holds, right? Like, if you untap with the Fiend Artisan, you should not be able, you should not lose the game if you play correctly. Unfortunately, pilot error on my behalf. A Volk and a Ponder, they definitely throw that away for what it's worth. I had to make it more appealing than that. Can't block that. I think I have to block this. Our out here is like Grist tick down. Alright, we're dead. This loss is on me. I don't remember. I continue my tradition of botching game match one. Let's try not to do that again. Like I said, I think we win that game easily if I don't screw that up. Uh, Probably not with the hoof and the bog there. I think we'll put the force away. We only get Chen Stein. Why does that sound like a Moon Stomp player to me? We take the endurance. It's different. So sample size there is bad. I obviously lost. My winning streak against Delver is like snapped, but I do think for what it's worth, if I just like slowed down a little bit there, I would have made the correct call. I just didn't think it through. I just assumed the game was over because we had untapped with Fiend Artisan, and it should have been, to be honest. I don't like that we fetch Bayou here, but all right. I think here they have to take the. Well, if they have reanimate, they have to take the endurance. They don't have reanimate. Um, they probably take the Fiend Artisan. All right, let's redeem ourselves here. So they probably don't have the reanimate, or they can daze, right? That would be well. Fiend Artisan is not even good, right? Well, they would reanimate grief if anything. Actually, did I screw that up? No, I didn't. So I think what I want to do here is play this and pass. They do nothing. That's a Telegraph Bowmasters that we cannot unfortunately play around. I think we're gonna just pass here and not play in today's. They probably what's the likely scenario here is they Bowmasters one of our things. Sure. The likely scenario I was gonna say was they Bowmaster one of our things, and then we're gonna endure some response, but that didn't happen. It tells me that they probably don't have Bowmasters and they were holding up days. Because I don't know what you're holding the Bowmasters for if you don't take out the dorks, right? You're just like time walking yourself. The punish here is if they have like Angler and just like play a land Angler, but I don't think we care about Angler, to be honest. I think we're gonna Endurance. That may draw Force, and then we're gonna hopefully draw a land next turn, and then play around Days with Gris. That's the hopeful line. The likely scenario though is the Endurance will draw a Force and they will pitch Days because they see we have 4 mana. That is the likely scenario. Don't tell me they actually have the Angler here. Not that it matters. Uh, sure. That resolving is almost GG. It's like an insane tempo play against them. We drew the land. Is there any? It really feels like our opponent has days. Um, I'm just gonna get a Fiend Artisan here. It's a must force too. There's some people who think they can allow an endurance to resolve. I don't think that's one bit correct, but sure. This is what I mean, right? Like, um, I don't think we want to turn on their shadow for no reason. Like, we're playing defense mostly in this game. Like, I'll make them do the work. Ugh. There's no need to attack. Sure. Now they have a 4/4. They probably attack. No, they didn't. Interesting. What are the odds they have another force? It feels like they have days, but we can. This is if they have force, it's a must force. Anyway, if they have bowmasters, it looks really poorly to attack with the endurance there. Because they can just ping themselves, right? This is a 5/5 suddenly. All right. Probably should have got another Bayou, but I don't think it matters. That's kind of funny. 5/6. There's no need to rush. I think I can just play defense behind this. I play ultra conservatively, as it's probably obvious, but I don't think we're losing this game. Like we threw the gate match one already, right? Just because I like didn't slow down a little bit here. Just like we just hide behind the grist, right? All right. It's not about real bad in this matchup, which is why because of the popularity of Shadow, I only run two now instead of the three main. I do like the Veil Summer, obviously. And then same thing to Delver, right? Avoiding the seizes now. I don't think we need Huff because I just think Atraxa wins the game. And Endurance is good. So I think I like this. And keeping it in the natural order. Maybe my obsession of trying to, be combo police is gonna do me in against some of these fair decks, but I think we have Slack. Why wasn't it worth to trade Endurance for Shadow? Good question, I guess. The logic there is like we have an answer already to the Shadow in a Argris, so I feel like we don't need to trade there. Granted, we could have applied more pressure, but I felt like we could just hide behind Argris there. That's the short story, I guess. But for what it's worth, I do play the deck probably way more conservatively than most people. Most people, for instance, would probably with one open mana go for a Huff kill still. I just get if I see that I think Swords of Plowshares and I just will play around and just get Atraxa because the logic is I won't lose if I have Atraxa 95% of the time, assuming proper play. I think on one hand, sorry, I think I've lost like maybe 6 to 7 matches total ever while since Atraxa got printed, and like half of those were due to misplays. The other half is like very corner case situations. I think here we want them to waste the Guy's Cradle. They Thoughtseize are Thoughtseize, which is funny. So yeah, I tend to be a lot more conservative because I just this is not always true because I assume under certain board states I shouldn't lose. Now pilot error is an issue, so I have lost games I probably shouldn't have lost, but outside of those, right? Like the previous match, I should not have lost game two. Sure. Yeah, it's funny. I don't call the deck actually Cradle Control anymore because Jarvis, and I kind of agree with him. It's kind of tongue in cheek because of the alliteration, but I know it's control players are tilted when I call it control. It's not really a control deck. It's not. But the other thing is, it's not really a mid range deck too, in my opinion. Uh, sure. It's really like, if anything, closer to a prison deck. I'm gonna actually play that out. Sure. Just gotta resolve an artisan here, I guess. Ugh. These sneaky grief packages. Is that the third one? I hate that this matchup has become very snowbally, if you want to call it that. Now oh, okay. Like it feels more like a me playing as Moonstopping, like against these grief versions, like where there's a lot of very high variance, right? Instead of like more back and forth play. Now, granted, this is not the stock version for it, so there's that. Um, they're brainstorm locked, so agreed. Opponent is in trouble. We just need to draw anything here, right? They should have done that at upkeep for whatever that's worth. Really want to keep it. It is. It's just like it feels like you're playing as a prison deck instead of like a tempo match. I mean, maybe that's fine. Like some people enjoy that, but I don't find the prison gameplay very exciting. And that's coming from somebody like on my side too. Like the games where I beat 8 cast because of a collective, it's like cool that I win, but like it's not particularly fun for me either. All right. The question here is, do I get a? Mm, actually, we'll get this because I want to set up the thing next turn. If this doesn't resolve, there we go. Yeah, I want to be able to cast endurance. That's the line, right? If they forced it for whatever reason. I mean, actually, it's a must force. This is. I could be wrong. I feel like Artisan is. They're gonna get Troll. I think we do it now, right? Like, I want to untap on an empty board. Oh, this is just now we just gonna go. We're gonna have a field day now. Yeah, that's the game. All right. Atone for our mistakes from the first match. I'm gonna use the restroom and be real back. Um, the opponent maybe didn't play the best there, but so the jury's still out whether we can absorb these suboptimal cards against Delver. But well, I guess we'll hopefully find out before the end of the night, right? I'll put up the list again. All right. You kind of see the flaws of scam as well, right? Like, if you don't have the scam package or you can't execute it, then you're just like 2-for-1ing yourself a lot. Looks like we are back against an unknown player here. Hmm. I don't love it. This is technically a set. We'll try it. Whatever. I don't really like keeping these kind of hands. I guess it's technically a land drop. They want a 4. Uh-oh. That's like usually combo city. Like reanimate or something like that. Question is, do we want this at the bottom? Probably all these cards at the bottom. Well, we're gonna fetch anyways into Green Sun, so I guess getting the fetch there is correct. Tundra. Alright, I feel a lot better. It's rarely a combo color. I think here, do we want Bowmasters or do we want to Artisan here? If for some reason our opponent is on Esper, we're going to regret playing the Fiend Artisan, so we're just going to pass the turn. Oh my god, why? Okay. Why are we playing against this deck? It's like the some kind of high tide or like untapping not shenanigans going on. Alright, we probably need to get going. Like and establish establish some kind of clock. I'm hoping they just force this. I think we're probably in trouble. Like, they're up to no good and we don't have any interaction right now. Sure. Oh, alright, that's a relief. Welcome everyone from the Legacy Pit. Shout out to my boy Disa who hangs out there a lot, I know. Yeah, here are my socials. We are now 1-1. Oops, why did that work? We're currently 1-1. I was, you know, a doofus in the first round and punted a game I had no business losing because I was too quick to, you know, just like think about how I lost the game. And I should have. Long story short, I lost the Fiend Artisan for no reason when I probably was in clear command. Game 2, we atoned for that and beat Shadow. Granted, our opponent, I didn't seem like they played the most optimal, so maybe there's an asterisk there. Our opponent is obviously on some kind of combo deck, I think. We saw Stifle and Lotus Field. I don't. So, if I were to guess, I'm trying to think like I don't even know what that deck looks like, but I think if I were to guess, Snuff Out is not going to be really good. I'm going to guess Agent is probably going to be decent. Endurance is probably not going to have any text, and I'm trying to think. I think this counting their Stifle could be relevant. Bog is probably not going to have any text. Oh, Gadok T, it feels like this is a matchup for that. Um, Gris, do we care? I feel like they're a combo deck, so maybe not. I think one needle could be relevant. Actually, let's put one Gris, a two to four. Like, yeah, I think Teague is. I get the feeling it's gonna be highly relevant. Like two Gris, I guess. Turn two Teague. That's what we're looking for. A lot of lands though. Maybe I should have mulliganed this. I kept it off just like maybe the tunnel vision of Teague, but this is like almost like a mode of five in a lot of ways. Ugh, I think that's worse. They probably have swords, but I could be wrong. Flagstones. That's pretty cute, actually, with the Lotus Field. Actually, I'm relieved by that. That's actually quite good as well. Hey Lawrence, how's it going? Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty cool. I know a thing or two about my flagstones from Modern. Uh, what I'm referring to is I used to play for the Magic Online Championship that I qualified for back in. Oh, that's annoying. I was gonna say there's the reason to not play that was play fetch if they Teferi me here. No, no, that's kind of bad. I'm getting like super punished for my sloppiness. Like, well, they could have ticked up the Teferi for what it's worth, and then we could have got the Teague, and then they minus the Teague. Maybe it ends up being the same. I think here we have to go for a Reclaimer here. They're probably incentivized to towards that if they have it. It might be my fault too for just keeping that hand. The big misplay earlier was not playing the fetch just to play around the Teferi. Obviously, they could bounce. I mean, sorry, they can just plus, but that's better if they don't draw a card. Okay, interesting. It's kind of free. The, Strict Proctor is something I considered during the initiative era. good. Sure. Yeah, I probably should have only in this hand. Like, I'm just like, it's my own fault for keeping this hand. Sure. Interesting. Don't know what is going on with our opponent's deck. It just doesn't make any sense, really. Sure. They have a bunch of flyers, which is interesting. I mean, I don't think that makes endurance better or anything, but it's just something to note. Interesting. Four. So we're short actually of Atraxa because of the prospectors, right? Um, we could wait a turn. Like I don't think we should get Gris here. I don't think that solves anything, because especially if they have flyers. And there's a good chance they have like pending or something in their hand, and they don't feel like they need to use it against these creatures. Oh my god. Okay. Did not expect that, but that's okay, I guess. That does set back our Green Sun a turn. There's a chance we're supposed to Green Sun for Artisan there. So we have extra mana. But it just feels like against the white deck, they just have too much removal. That I feel like I'm better off just trying to cast for Atraxa right now. Shoot, I'm one short. I miscounted. That is a bad mistake on my behalf. The good thing is I don't think it actually matters. Because we have the extra Cradle in hand anyways. Bowmasters actually would have been an interesting one because of the fairy there. I feel well they have to kill the artisan regardless. Do need to start playing a little bit better here. The good thing is we're not under the gun completely. Like I'm still trying to figure out what their deck does. Like if they're on the creature plant, I kind of like Snuff Out. Like they have multiple prompters and at least one mastermind. Maybe it's loose, but doesn't look like the agent's doing anything here either. Although I'm not 100. What is going on? Why is there a rest in peace? That is kind of funny. It counters their own rest in peace trigger. Sure. That card is quite annoying. That's for sure. I should have not done that. Suddenly, my opponent has lethal because I screwed that up. I think I have to kill this now because of my bad mistake. Okay. They also messed up. They should have waited for the trigger to resolve. Like then I would be down a creature. Maybe I'm still okay. We'll see. They're almost certainly taking out the Gris here, and then I just have to hope they don't have any more stifle effects. The problem is I'm not even sure what they're fielding into, right? Like Dreadnought, presumably. What the heck? Sure. It's like EDH that's going on here. They haven't forced anything yet. Almost feels like that last. Well, they would have forced the Gris, perhaps. I don't know. Well, now they definitely probably killed it. All right. So we have a live top deck. They're gonna kill the Gris here, presumably. That's a lot of Proctors, though. This is like kind of obnoxious that we cannot. Also, are they just not playing fetch lands? I just realized like this hasn't done anything. So we go 3, 6. We have to pay for a trigger. We have to play 6. It's a lot. The reason why I got Phenars is they're Hellbent, and I need the mana for the Guy's Cradle. Sure. I'm rolling enough that Proctors are now kind of annoying. Because I don't have lethal through all of that now. This game was really lost on us on the mulligan though. So I have nobody to blame but myself. Oh, I forgot about that actually. That's actually kind of dumb. Uh, yeah, that's not even worth it. All right. We're dead next turn. Well, yeah, we're dead next turn. We get a Traxa most likely. Unfortunately, that's all we can get. Because we have to pay for it, right? And just hope they misplay. Okay, now we're just really dead. For those coming in from the Legacy Pit, this sweater is from the Taylor Swift concert. My wife got me. Did they just miss lethal? I mean, they have lethal anyways, so whatever that's worth. Yeah, alright. I think we're gonna change how we board it here. They had like no search effects. Um, don't want agent. Teague, probably still fine. Um, honestly, the snuff out's probably decent. Although shut off by Teague. You get Teague late, it may hurt though. I feel like this is not a lair. Well, unlikely this is a lair matchup. Well, we don't know, right? Because of the Elspeth. The Bowmaster's here. This on a stifle is like pretty insane. Oh, wait, it spells you control. So let's take this out. And then try it, I guess. Alright. Significantly better than last time. I think we just take the ramp. We expect the first thing to get plowed or pending, and then we're gonna double ramp again into Grist the following turn. No pending. It feels like we're getting stifled here. But let's check. No stifle. In that case, I'm just slamming Grist. I don't think they run days. This is probably Brainstorm looking for force. So actually, the sequencing there mattered because like I'm almost tempted to play out the dorks before the fetch, but because I check for fetch, I'm able to just try to slam Grist there. So let's see what's going on here. Maybe a pending on the ignoble. Sure. Do you think having dreadnoughts makes you want to have snuff out more? It didn't look like they had it for what it's worth. I think we just kill that, but I could be wrong. Oops. We get the Grist, that's for sure. The bait here is like I'm probably plussing. Oh, because it doesn't even kill it. Oh, sorry, it does kill it. My mistake. I'm thinking of stifle, but like. If we kill it, then we can get an Atraxa, right? And that probably just wins the game on the spot. All right. Well, that was anticlimactic. All right. We probably should not have lost the second game, but here's the deck list. Uh, the main takeaway from today is we're going down to one Shepherd. It's already kind of mediocre in this deck. I just think like in Legacy 2023, we just want more and more haymakers. Like the format almost feels like vintage now, like of yesterday's vintage. And then I think we want opposition agent for like the random green decks that like lands is, in particular kind of a tough matchup. Uh, I tweeted this out like last week I think or whatever it was. I actually enjoyed the lands matchup, even though we're pretty not favored, because um, it does reward tight play on both sides. More so our side than theirs. Sometimes it feels like they just click buttons and they can win. Um, but I think that's less true with as when we have more hate. Uh, this person I paired into a few times over the past weeks. They are typically on TES, and I don't think we can keep this hand. If they are still on what we think they're on, I think it was them. I could be wrong though. In the dark, I would probably keep this. I think that's them. I could be wrong. I'm gonna get punished, obviously, if I'm wrong. Oops, wrong one. Put this back. Uh, I see a lot of people mess up and just fetch before anything. You only want to do that if you don't know what's on the bottom from a mulligan. I'm only playing the two Bayou, even though I tried it with three Bayous last night off stream. Uh, it felt like I didn't need the third Bayou, even though I'm boarding in C's against Delver now. Let's see if they are on what we think they're on. I typically don't make those kind of plays, but the sample size was like kind of high, if I remember correctly. That it's not like a one-off. Like I'm not the type to mold to a certain thing because I think because the last time I played somebody they were on a certain deck. Like unless your name is like Eric Landon from before or like a Brian Cook, right? That's you're known for a particular archetype. I typically will not mulligan to a certain hand. Obviously, I only do that against them because they're strong players and the matchup is otherwise very unfavorable, right? I think it's game one. If you're like an, I don't know. Let's just whose name should I use? If you're like a Cyrus, my boy Cyrus, right, who's on Ant, I may not do it as aggressively because maybe that's not the best example because they're on Storm deck, but I may not mulligan as aggressively because deck's a little bit slower. Or a better example is if you're like one of the Delver Cabal, right? Like I'll keep like generic hands. Yeah, Cyrus is probably not a good example. Um, so the question here is like, do we weigh the Gris and the two damage, or do we? Yeah, I don't think Gris is doing anything. I think the damage matters more in case they acknowledge him. Land drop and we're in the clear to cast natural order. Sure. Here it's one damage, and I think with one damage we make it up next turn. So I'm just gonna do that. Now, obviously, we could have had an insect token already, but Not gonna play around Bowmasters. I don't think they have that main deck. I just realized none of my stops are set. That could hurt me down the road. These are the normal ones that I have. I set this main when I'm facing a Rabble Master deck. Could be like it's typically relevant then. I think it makes sense. It's believable that the benefit of losing life for Anna is non-linear. That's fair. Uh-oh. Oh, they're on Ant. Or Mind's Desire, maybe? Ugh, okay. Yeah, I thought they were on. What's his name, but. Okay, I guess I'm just dead through that. Alright. I don't know why I thought they were on TS. Maybe I'm just getting confused. Or they change. It's like the other option, right? Alternative. I don't know what normal Ant looks like right now. I feel like a lot of people are playing with Mind's Desire, so I don't want Needle. We definitely want all of these other stuff, though. I actually bored out Endurance now, because they sort of play around it most of the time. I think Force is actually decent. Yeah, Veil for sure. Let me check my board. I don't remember off the top of my head. Oops. How I board against them. It says 1 Force, which is like reasonable, and I keep the land in. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Maybe you get lucky, right? I don't think you want to draw the second Force. That's reasonable enough. I think one day maybe we go to main deck discard if like we feel like we need to have enough hate like in the 75, but not quite there yet. Also, it's like very awkward. So here they could have gone petal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we just take the Desire, right? Um, this is a line that a lot of people will miss, and I actually just missed yesterday as well. I'm gonna go turn 2 Artisan, and I'll tell you why. Uh, if I go Hierarch and they top deck discard, um, then suddenly I don't have a disruption line the next turn. This works with Cradle because I can go 1 drop and get still. Uh-oh. So it only works with Cradle on turn 2 because you can go 1 drop into Cradle, still have 3 mana, and get either Godok 2 or Collector Oof, right? And I think we want to keep the Reclaimer in case we need a Bog our opponent in the future for some reason. collector. Oof, I think, yeah. Galactique was shut off earlier. Green Sun, obviously. I think we know their exact hand now. So the good thing here actually now is we can actually go into like all of the hay bears. Now that still loses to something like a dress down, but okay, I'll take that back. We can't beat a dress down yet. I think we take the ritual here. Or the desire, I guess. Yeah, if for some reason, I guess we just take the desire. And then the third one will be opposition agent, right? Just like all the locks. We'll bash for 7. Game 3. I wonder if we want Force of Vigor. It's probably better than the other stuff we have. Endurance is like interesting because they went for passive flames, but my experience is it's unlikely they go for that post board. It's like very dangerous, right? Like it could be any kind of graveyard they lose to. Close, but no cigar. I would have kept this if this was like some other thing, like a discard or something. That's like reasonable. And then we put back the basic. There is a non-zero chance we get veiled here. We know what's on the bottom, so I want to once first. And take the dork. We get veiled, we get veiled. It's not like the sneak and show matchup where you have some time. Like they can't kill you turn 2. Oh, we're getting veiled. No. I wonder why they got Trop. Like, I see Trop and I would think Veil. Otherwise, I feel like Underground Sea might be better. Just take the Cabal Raid, I guess. Did not feel like that was optimal on our opponent's behalf. All right. We're definitely playing two creatures. It's just whether that's Bowmasters or Reclaimer. Um, it depends on how much we value Bog here, and I feel like probably do, and hold up Bog the rest of the game. And there's no guarantee our opponent is gonna walk into a Bowmasters anyways. So this is interesting. I want to be able to attack with the Hierarch, but the problem is if I do, I can't cast the Bowmasters. Well, I could, but then it'd be like, then I can't cast the Hierarch. That's probably okay. I definitely want to. I wanted to attack here, but it might not be the case. Actually, we still can. What am I doing? I'm brain farting here. This is all I needed to do. So this is 4 mana, right? Oh, I just saw the chat. I think Bowmasters is better than the line. Um, you well, Reclaimer would be for passive plays, unless you're missing something else. Oh, you might have been talking about. Yeah, unless I'm missing something here. Oh, I just realized something. I think, did I board out the layer? Oh, I guess I don't need to check. Oh, yeah, the layer is here. Thank goodness. That's an incredible clock. I think we seize first just to see what's up. They veil us here. I don't think we care. Dress down. I don't think dress down actually matters for the layer. So I'm just gonna take the Infernal Tutor. I could, yeah. If what I think is correct, we'll find out one way or another. I don't think the dress down matters for the layer. And now we have like a really fast clock. I think we bog now to cut off threshold. So it's do or die now for our opponent. Right? Because we have the layer lethal next turn. We're just going to tap out for it. There's no reason not to. It's a force play on our behalf. sort of feels like they have removal. But I could be wrong. We could play it if they dress down here. Okay. If we tap out, they have removal. It's gonna feel real bad. But I think we can play around. If they have removal, we're gonna be forced to do it anyways. So I think the line here is just a tap out, and then a swing off. Chain is not gonna work. They can't chain a layer. Hey Judy, how's it going? All right, we are salvaging the night here with our prison deck. We should have won the first round too. Well, maybe not the round, but at least game two. We just like threw for no reason. I posed this question earlier. For those coming in from the Legacy pit, is Fiend Artisan the closest thing to Dreadhorde where, assuming correct play, if you untap, you probably win. And assuming yes, in the right deck too, right? Obviously, you put Fiend Artisan in like, I don't know, a Delver deck is probably not gonna work. I guess the other contenders are like Stoneforge Mystic. I think it's a little bit better than that. I think Thalia, but that's more situational. What am I missing? I think Confidant, right? If you untap with it, you probably might win the game. Speaking of Confidant, could have Lawrence here earlier, who was playing that in Grixis Delver before Dreadhorde became a thing. Hey Lawrence, how's it going? Not even close. Okay, so that could have been referencing. that could have been referencing anything I just said there. Are you talking about Fiend Artisan or no? I think I don't know. Ring is like pretty bad in my experience is different than others. I have no problem beating the Ring, but I see like other channels or other people, they say like this deck can't be the Ring, and my experience has been kind of the opposite of that. Um, I think that's probably more true with the Ring now. I still think it's doesn't. I don't know. My experience with the Ring is. Oh, I see what you're saying. You have more room to screw up. Yeah, assuming no screw ups. That's part of it, right? I don't know, man. Like, I think with the Ring, it's a little overrated. Like, granted, maybe when the opponents play the Ring against me, I'm already pretty ahead. But like, I tend to still win the games where my opponent has the Ring. Uh, we're gonna telegraph the Bowmasters a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah. There's no messing up with Dreadhorde. I will concede that. I think the only times I beat Dreadhorde is like I have like a Reclaimer before. All right, I just like do it now, I guess. I think having a card is singular fun, and that function basically the win if this happens. Hard to compare it. Um, that is true. That is true. I will say. I will say there. That is. It's hard to screw up with Dreadhorde. You have to really botch it. And my wins against Dreadhorde before when they untapped with it was pretty much I blocked it with a 3/4 reclaimer. So that's like pseudo removal, right? Like they get their Snapcaster, but even then, like no disagreement from me on that. I was referring more so what's the closest thing to Dreadhorde. I will definitely concede Dreadhorde is just 2 mana to win the game. Fiend, like you have to actually build the deck in a certain way too. So there, that part is like a thing, right? Like, it's not zero. Like there's like deck building considerations. What did they get? Battle Skull. Okay, I think we just have to kill it anyways. Um, just bash with L, I guess. No, the deck building is 100% a thing. Lawrence has a good point there, and am I in no way saying Fiend is anywhere close to Artisan, but I think of the available options in Legacy, it might be the closest one. And again, I don't even think it's close. Maybe I wasn't clear with that. Like full disclosure. Sure. Fortunately, we have a lot of dead cards here. We are gonna come in for like a million here. They're gonna put in Batterskull, unfortunately, though, which is hurts. All right. What am I doing here? If I actually, I think the line here is to bash with all because they have to block one of the other ones. I think Doomsday is probably the one example, right, where that's not quite accurate. They plow one of the other ones. Oh, you die quite. Okay, never, I misread that. I think we're probably losing now. We somewhat flooded out. A cradle off the top there would have been really nice, but it wasn't meant to be. They have a Batterskull, which is gonna hurt. Actually, they have a Cauldron complete, so I think we pass. Very awkward that they had two Stoneforge Mystics. Speaking of Stoneforge Mystic, that is a card where, yeah, if you're a Delver player, if they untap, you probably lost the game. Nope. Endurance being kind of sus here. I'm gonna declare blocks and then with the shepherd and then pump. I mean, if they stifle me, they stifle me. Sure. At least they don't gain life here. The endurance showing the liability that they can be sometimes. Cradle. Nope. So one thing that is kind of scary here is they can block and then equip. So I don't think it's even worse. Attacking. Although if they tap out, we're dead anyways. They may not be incentivized to tap out if we do that. Oops. We need to hope they screw up here. Sure, that's fine with me. Drawing two endurances in this matchup is kind of rough. Opponent had lethal there if they had just equipped. But maybe they're scared of us playing around something. I think this game is probably lost because we drew two endurances. That would be one reason not to make the change that we made, right? I don't think we can afford to draw multiple endurances in a matchup where it's not relevant. So that would be like one strike against the endurance. Or the current configuration we ran tonight. Which is why we don't run 3 snuff outs too. Uh-oh. Oh my god. Alright. We're dead. Alright, we have a lot of dead cards in this matchup. Snuff might actually be even okay, but Stoneblade is always tricky for us to sideboard against because like their deck there's like a plan A and B and our hate lines up like we don't want to draw the wrong half against the line that they have is typically the issue I've found in this kind of matchup. Um, it does. The problem is it doesn't really do anything else besides that. The needle, nope. We have a lot of dead cards. A lot. So I can even see like Snuff being okay. The question is like, do we want Garou Teague? I think. almost feels like we have too many non. Yeah, let's actually put an agent in and see how this works. Two snuff outs is probably okay, just for the threat of it. Nope. This is actually kind of a bad hand. I think we're probably gonna lose. I think Force of Vigor has felt like the worst card today. Granted, we didn't really have any matches for it. It almost feels like I want another dork in the deck because of these awkward starts. Wow. Um, so the nice thing about this is this plays around Priest. And I think I'm just gonna cash it in right now. Instead of trying to get greedy. It's a telegraph Priest, but I think that's okay. Two, three, four, yeah. I think the hardest part about playing these kind of like not toolbox, like cradle decks, where there's a lot of tutoring involved, is what hate to play around. And that's probably not even specific to this deck. I think in general, like if you're a graveyard combo deck, like knowing what cards your opponent could have, or if you're like a storm player, like what to play around. I'm gonna snuff this out and see what they do. Um, do I want to block? Probably not. Agent can look like really silly, anemic against them. Yeah, see, it's like too slow. Hmm. Think we have to kill that. I can't get Arbor. The problem with the priest out. We're gonna main phase this. I guess we can. know if that was right. Actually, likelihood is wrong. Jesus. Stoneforge, like, kind of a problem for this deck because like it causes awkward sideboarding patterns because it's like if they draw that and then I don't really want to have snuff out, or I want to have snuff out, but the problem is they don't draw, then it's a lot of basics too. Jesus. Oh, time to pack it in, I think. I think yeah, the Stoneforge with the priest was like very awkward. Cause then like I can beat one or the other, but it's hard to beat both, just because of the way the game played out. Like I couldn't take down the priest and the Stoneforge at the same time with the Grist. And at least without Moloch, there's no like way to do both in the same turn. Like I could have taken down, kill the priest, and then get Moloch, kill the Stoneforge, but unfortunately not available. I think we're dead. All right, that was unfortunate. I think one thing that we can take away from that is like the three endurance. I like, granted, Stoneforge Mystic is like not super Stoneblade's not super common. But it was definitely a little bit awkward. To draw like the wrong part more or less, right, against that deck. Granted, like an Allosaurus Shepherd in that spot, I'm not sure he's doing much either. But the mapping is a little bit off too. Like, well, I guess we could have just boarded into all the Stoneforges, right? The opposition agent like didn't do anything, and maybe that's the takeaway going forward. Um, we can run maybe a few more matches, I guess. Let's try again. This is kind of weak, but I feel like we want to be able to beat combo. If it was Shepard, would it have mattered? Uh, the other scenario, trying to think. Yeah, let's try and see how it works. I'm not quite ready. Also, shout out to Lawrence. I want to say 2 years ago or so, was the one that we were just texting each other via Facebook Messenger, but I think I asked for his opinion on something, and then his response was pretty nice. He said he believed in me with regards to how to build a deck, like, and that I should just trust my own gut instinct, but don't be afraid to experiment. So what I mean by that is like, for something like meaningless like leagues, don't play the stock list too much because you can miss out on other things because you don't explore. We're playing against Justin Franks here, but then always have a list ready per se, right? Um, I feel like against something I don't know what Justin's playing, but the tracks is pretty bad. We'll keep it. We'll assume we don't know what he's on. He's typically on Storm, but let's pretend like we don't know what he's on. Especially with Minds are unbanned. Like I would assume that he's on that, but and this is not particularly great. I haven't talked to Justin in a while, so just updating him on my life stuff real quick. He wrote a 5. Definitely screams Storm of some variety. All right. Let's see how this turns out. Our hand, if he is on Storm, is like not particularly good, but if he's on like some kind of fair deck, this is like out pretty good, right? Bobble. Obviously, the attracts is a blank, but the rest is like decent. Outside of like him being on show and tell, I don't think he's on show and tell. Although the irony of that is, I think the first time I met him, and this was IRL. This is Justin Franks, by the way, on the other side, but he was playing show and tell. This is a long time ago, and then I just was pretty amazed at how nice his. I think they were beta. They're black bordered, but they're his black bordered volcanic island was. At that time, I think I was just like just getting to Legacy. He too became a dad over COVID for whatever that's worth. Ooh, that's pretty good. Bloodstained Mire is a very dangerous land to play against. It screams combo for what it's worth. Looks like it's TES maybe. So I could have like mulled to like a turn two collector oof or something, right? But that assumes I know what he's playing, which I didn't. Uh, sure. Looks like he's playing Ant. Or actually, sorry, I take that back. He's playing. I said it earlier. TS. So I could have had a turn two like oof, but wanted to have the better practice, right? And just not assume what he's on. And I couldn't say with certainty too, for what it's worth. I think we are dead, if my math is right. Something that I didn't like about cutting the shepherd from the main is losing creatures is definitely not something I want to like go towards. Maybe that means I should play maybe like a bowmasters, the third one instead of the shepherd. But all right, that should be tendrils. All right, I'm gonna see. Good thing is our sideboard here is like very good against. Just I think we saw Witch Claw too, which is interesting. Thought I saw Witch Claw, but maybe I'm tripping out. Strange. Oh, there you go. Yeah. The Mez is okay. The problem is it's gotten worse, and one of the reasons I liked it before was I could map it towards Delver. The problem with Mezfi now against Delver is they just bowmasters it and it just feels awful. I don't care if they kill our dorks. When they kill our 2-drop and get their card back, that's kind of bad. What am I boarding out? I have too many cards. Actually, bowmasters in this matchup. They have baubles, but I feel it probably doesn't do anything. No, cannot keep that. Oh my god, can't keep that either. Alright, that kind of tells me our density is not high enough, right? We need to see hate. We didn't see it with either of the first two hands. Also, agent is like not really hate because it comes down too slow. We'll keep this. So that's something to keep in mind. I think I'm done with agent. It was good like one of the other matches. The problem is it's probably not getting there. It feels like a million mana. So that's like good data. Hmm. So if we take their ad Nas, I don't think they have much, right? Let's see. Yeah, because they can like if we take their brainstorm, they can like draw another card and then dark ritual pretty soon. So it's a pretty easy take, I think. Especially since our clock is like slow. Here we're gonna go actually Artisan 2 and hope to get lucky with a Cradle top deck. For the same reasons I mentioned before, right? Because the Noble Heart doesn't do anything. It, I guess it depends. Like, are we playing towards a are we playing towards a natural order top deck or a Cradle top deck? They're roughly the same odds. The difference is Phenards and plays around discard. Actually, that was a mistake. I just realized because Hierarch actually plays towards Green Sun too in this case. So unless you have Cradle already, I actually made a mistake right now. So the difference is Phenards plays towards the Cradle top deck, but the other one plays a natural order or uh, Green Sun top deck. So I actually goofed that. I think the ideal world. I was thinking about the other line earlier in the day or night where I played the Cradle. But if you don't have it, then this line does play around discard for whatever that's worth. All right, I think we're just dead here. Bowmasters notably does not do anything against Ant. Or TES. Although this is like an older version without Inferno Tutor. I think he's gonna Desire here. Yeah. Wish is pretty good. The dream is you desire into desire, right? He's looking for an LED, and the reasoning being is because that would make Burning Wish lethal. Because you have the Opal casting mana. The Wish Claw coming to me is like now very awkward because I could have just tutored for the answer, right? Although me tutoring for the answer would be the collective, and that would require hitting a land too. I think in the ideal scenario here is I just lose because my mistake doesn't really get punished, right? Of playing the artisan. I think that may happen here. What? Oh, grape shot? What is he getting? Did he play a land yet? Yeah, he did. Yeah, I can only get grape shot, which is interesting. I can blow up my artisan, I guess. I guess in this case it's almost good I didn't play the artisan. Sorry. Well, there's an argument to be made too that still getting the there's still an argument to be made that getting keeping the artisan is better than keeping the two dorks. So he has three draws here to essentially gas up. Um, our line is likely just going to be talisman for oof, and just hope he doesn't have the answer. We don't have lethal either, so I actually think if I want a talisman, it's a little bit dangerous, right? If they have a removal spell, then we're just probably just dead. I think we play for the kill and not get collective here. Oh. I don't think it mattered then. Well, I guess it did because he used the mana. Yeah, I think the debate there was like, do I get the? I know Justin has his own kid too, so hoping the best for him. All right, we can play one more, I think. I think my this testing is good because it reminded me like I think this card is bad. The problem with it is even though it's good against combo, I can't keep hands with it because it's too slow. So like that almost defeats the purpose, right? Like the whole point is so you make more hands keepable. And then I thought this card could increase my density, which it sort of does, but not in a way that is consistent because you kind of have to be on the play and have turn one ramp. So I don't think it's worth it. Even if that means I may lose to the mirror sometimes, like so be it. Jesus. Teague is like an exception, right? Because it's green as well, which makes it really good. Yeah, I was now reminded why I hate opposition agent. Sure. Yeah, you kind of have to have it on time, and like, I don't want my hate pieces to depend. That's obvious. Whatever coming up, another Bowmasters. That's that's a Telegraph Bowmasters. I kind of love this Bowmasters metagame because it's like very easy to read. Um, I think I want to play this and just not attack. Like, see, now our opponent has time walked themselves, right? Like, they either play their Bowmasters for no value or like just did not spend their mana, right? This is what I mean by it's like easy to play around. Sure. What is our opponent on? It's two underground seas and a basic island. Sure, I guess. I definitely want a reclaimer this turn. We'll see what my opponent does. I think in our deck we kind of have to because the board presence is too much. In other decks you kind of have to hold it in hand, which is actually why I think Bowmasters has been good for us from a metagame perspective. It slows down Delver like considerably to the point where I think we have margin, like a lot of margin in that matchup. Yeah, it's different when you have Cradle and Fiend Artisan where that incentivizes bodies on board. Where I need to just like spend my mana. All right, they're probably gonna target the Arbor, I'd imagine, and mess up. I kind of had a feeling a lot of people still don't know about this trick. It's it's queer. We have Queer and Ranger at home. I wonder why they did it in response. Never mind. That's the main phase. So the good thing now is we have a deterministic kill, right? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I thought Snuff Out was banned in Blue decks now because they can't kill opposing Bowmasters. We're one mana short. God. Of what I want to do. We're not under tremendous clock. Like I smell force in their hand. Another Murktide? Oh my god, punished. Well, sort of. I think if my math is right, I can still attract on the next turn. If my math is right. But I've like punted pretty badly today, so we'll see. Four. Alright. We have exactly enough. And I think in this unique scenario, we need to pitch the Arbor for extra blockers. That was pretty easy. Yeah, alright. We just pretty much have to figure out how not to lose there. Like, I think Borrower is like maybe the one out they have. Alright, Snuff Out's dead in this matchup. Well, they have Murktide. It's like strange, like, they're not on Shadow. They have Murktide. We didn't see any Delvers. Like, I'm trying to figure out what they're on. They had Wasteland and I think Daze. I could be wrong. Yeah. Oh, they're running the Scam. So, I'm trying to think if we want to board in Snuff Out or not. Probably not. Is that a thing? Like, why not play Shadow? Is my only question. Yeah, so I think if that's the case, I was already leaning towards this way anyways, for what it's worth. What am I boarding out? I want all the lands. The collective, there we go. So I'm kind of boarding the same way I am against Shadow. The difference here is, I guess there is no difference from our perspective. Like we don't want to draw the snuff out against a deck that could be cold against. The endurance here is nice, so we don't get scammed. Sure. Endurance is just incredible. Like it, it has done a lot for green, in my opinion. Like there's an argument to be made that green is the best color now against Reanimator. Mm, we're gonna once first and see. I think we want. So the question here is like, are they gonna daze us? I think we want the Fiend Artisan. Well, no, that's not true. I think we want the Hierarch and we pitch the Hierarch. And take their pressure off the board, right? If they daze us, no, they didn't daze. Okay. See, my logic here is like we take this off the board, and then they're gonna get our thing anyways. I feel actually pretty good now, like about our board position. Like we have more cards than them now. Sure. I don't think we care. Oh, now we do. That is the punishment for fetching the way we did. The thing is, like, I wanted to keep lines with, in case they killed our Hierarch, I wanted to keep lines with Bowmaster alive, I guess. Ooh, that is pretty bad for our opponent. Um, I think we're okay with drawing a land here, so. I think we main phase the endurance here. To play around days. Or brainstorm into days. You can slam an endurance against a tempo deck. It almost feels like they're on the ropes after one endurance. it's kind of obscene. Sure. Probably named Shaman. Maybe Arbor. Yeah. So close. All right. We're gonna pass. It's possible against the scam builds. Maybe I'm supposed to play Thoughtseize instead of Order. Although I'm already doing that to be fair. That's a decent draw. Plague Engineer is, ugh, alright. Kind of bad against us. It's a 1-for-1, so it's typically okay. They can probably start attacking if they want. Oh my god. I might be playing against the only blue player still registering Snuff Out. Mm, you should not be having a problem with Bowmasters. They trade down on mana. My only guess why you may be having a problem with it is there's two reasons. You're probably not developing your mana in a way that is safe, meaning that you're potentially walking your X1s into a Telegraph Bowmasters, or you're not prioritizing ramping early enough. That's the only two things I can think of. Oh, I got a ramp. I think given how this game has played out and the fact that they have at least one, maybe multiple snuff outs, maybe I'm supposed to board in more seizes. Because yeah, that sounds right actually. If they're on the scam package, because they're lower to even lower to the ground. The brainstorm did nothing interesting. Um, I think the line here is once into land drop into Shepherd. That's a hell of a draw. Oh my god, what am I doing? That's bad. Alright. That was bad on my behalf. I even called it out earlier, but that's not good on my behalf. I got two. Okay. They don't have the good thing is they don't have any clock, and they've like drawn all their cyborg hate already against us. I feel like the line here is high arc. If they have a Actually Reclaimer is like really good. It plays around Bowmasters, and we still have Gris. Nope. So do we board out Glimpse package against Bowmasters? If you're on the Glimpse, I would not recommend playing the Glimpse build right now. I think you're gonna have a very hard time. I, and if you're gonna board out Glimpse like in like 50% of your matches, I just recommend not playing the deck at the moment. Ugh. This is what I mean, right? Like our opponent doesn't have any pressure. Feels like they have another Bowmasters potentially. How many have they gone through? Okay, they have another push. We just need any land here or another creature to untap with, and then we can like slam Gris and start to take over the game. They probably should be attacking with one of their creatures. They probably forgot Plague Engineer. Sure. They probably forgot Plague Engineer's Death Touch. Right on cue for them to attack? No. Yeah, they're playing way too cautiously, in my opinion. Land. Let's go. Alright, we are now in the game. We don't even care if it's days because we have the Gris. And then we're slamming Natural no matter what next turn. Sure. Oh my god. Well, I guess we cannot slam Natural next turn. We want to give them Wasteland or Lorien Revealed. And Brainstorm. They can like cast it pretty soon. I don't think we can afford for them to have both the Wasteland and the Lorien Revealed. If they waste us here, we gotta give them that, I think. That might be too tempting for them not to take. I guess not. I'm kind of surprised they didn't take the Brainstorm plus the Lorien Reveal, but... yeah, that's pretty bad for us. We haven't cut off mana this entire game. Jesus. probably not worth it. They can have the Gris. I really thought I was gonna slam Natural Order. We still can, I guess, if we draw another Cradle here. That ain't it. Jesus, okay. That gives us a window. If we draw, they're like a slow, or it's like weird, right? Like a slower deck with Wastelands. Cradle. Nope. We just need to draw a Cradle. A Reclaimer here would be pretty good too. The Lauren reveal is pretty bad for us though. Okay, interesting. Do they have some? Did we just mold this game? Like, what is going on? How do we get fall behind? They mulligan. Interesting. So they're feeling the pressure to take this Gris off the board. The problem is there's no way for us to profitably block. There's that, and then for the Gris to survive, we have to actually eat two of these things. Actually, no, there's one way. We like go even there. That actually that doesn't work still. We'll let it go. Ironically enough, land here off the top wins the game. Maybe if they don't have force. This has just been a grind. Still trying to figure out how we got grinded out here. Maybe it's just the Lauren review, no, the Saron's ransom. I felt like we were on the verge. I felt like we were on the verge of like closing out the game at any time, and we just didn't draw the relevant card. That was a waste of a reanimate, I think, on their end. Did they have days? I don't even remember. I think ideally what happens here is they waste our Bayou, we reclaim her for Cradle, and then somehow hope that natural order resolves. They haven't seen a force yet. I wonder if they boarded it out. It's kind of funny. Nope, they're gonna take it away. I think they might have boarded out force. It's like very strange. Or they're holding their hand. Actually, I was thinking about that dynamic, by the way. I know there's some people who will board out forces against like shepherd decks. The counterplay is just to board out shepherds. Do we care? Why would they do that? I feel like they have. So they shepherd here, kill our thing. If nothing else, we need to check what they have for game three. They probably have a Bowmasters. Like that's the one thing I can think of. Oh my god, did not expect that. Yeah, I really think they don't have forces. Like, there's no way, right? They've gone through 30 cards. Like, at any point, Natural Order will win this game. Unfortunately, we just, like, never had the mana until right now. For some reason, they have Drown in the lock, which is, like, interesting. No blocks. I'm gonna pass here. Let's see what they do. The heads up play from our opponent would have been a waste on our upkeep. We're not dead yet, but we are running out of outs. I probably should have. Well, no, that's not true. I was gonna say I sure. I probably should have rotated the fetch away for the cradle, forced the wasteland on the cradle, and hope to top deck natural order there. Now we're dead. Yeah, they definitely don't have forces though, which is a good strategic advantage. I think we can play a little bit differently here. I think we probably just want like the seizes to clear the way. I think Shepherd is now kind of bad. Maybe that's too many seizes. All right, we'll adjust accordingly. Drown is a versatile card, but versatile doesn't help you when you're trading down a mana. I think I know what I need to do with this deck. The change that on F6. How could we have done things differently? Do we want C's in this matchup? I don't think we want any of these other cards, right? Maybe the Shepherd, that's about it. I think C's is better given what we saw. Okay. That's actually doesn't do much. Turn late, but okay. Drown on the lock is a little bit annoying because we're forced to like hit our own graveyard potentially. Oops. Maybe they drowned this. I don't know. Debating whether I want to do it to myself or not. Probably not. There's actually a decent chance they're gonna time out now too. That's a pretty decent draw. Our clock is a little bit faster than theirs. Oh, what? Okay, I forgot about the menace. That's bad on me. Oh my god, yeah, the full blowout. Oh, just terrible from my behalf. This is just brutal too. Like my draws have been just like last game I can't draw lands, and then this game is just all flood. And I turn on the reanimate too. That's the worst part about it. It sort of feels like they have a push. I'm gonna get blown out again. I think I'm just not gonna block. Just take five, go to five. Hope to draw natural order right now. It's not natural order, but that's something. I should not have played that land. They know I have a cradle in hand, so now they have full information. If we can just have drawn something relevant a long time ago. Uh oh. That grief is actually. Maybe they're making a bad block here. They Dark Blast our Reclaimer, it becomes a 2/3. They have an obvious Bowmasters in hand. Because why would they make this terrible block otherwise? They Bowmaster here, that's pretty bad because then we lose both, right? But we don't have a choice. They could also Bowmasters pump and deal with our Reclaimer here. That might be their best line. Interesting. Sure. Oh, they screwed that up. They should have. Yeah, they screwed that up. Oh, if I had just drawn anything by now. Sorry for the negativity. I should be more positive. It's actually good learning. Like we know what to address with the deck. They probably have another reanimate, so I don't even know if like I feel like this is probably the correct answer. We're at 2 now. I have to bog. There's no choice. Holy shit. This is just a kind of a just terrible. Cannot believe we lost to that deck. I'm trying to think like let's take a quick look. Was there anything we could have done differently? I think this is fine. It's a little bit land heavy, but yeah, see that is a whiff off the ones. And then we get sure that happens, that's not a big deal. That's actually a decent draw. Playing that to the board, I don't it's probably okay. We saw Murktide, I think. Actually, now I remember where we screwed up. Also, I think what we well, they could have pushed the ignoble. There was a chance they wouldn't break that. You play the cradle and held a mystery card in hand. They might fear Bowmaster. Yeah. So this was a real mistake, right? I like forgot about the menace for a split second. Um, and then that allowed them to pick off my Bowmasters and Reanimator, which was just kind of like brutal. What I could have done there was just hold the Bowmasters. Well, the grief is gonna keep clocking me. But I don't think I was in like any rush. Yeah, so this them doing that. Although to be fair, if they endurance me, I probably lose two. Like for what it's worth, I don't. They kill my dork, but then like that's a lot of pressure now. Like 6 a turn, and then they have the push. There's an argument to be made to like sniff out their push and then play the endurance afterwards. Like we drew lands for days. I think the only play I was like very unhappy with was the forgetting about the menace. This is a force bog, right? Like we have no choice, and then we drew another land. It happens. I think I don't mind the endurance play that earlier just for board presence. Maybe I'm supposed to wait, get them to push my dork. In general, our deck is built to beat removal, but like if our opponent holds removal against us and like essentially not bolt the bird, we need to be able to punish it. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that here. I think that's we really lost on the draws, but it didn't help with the misplay with the bowmasters targeting the grief either. But I think that's my analysis of this. Feel free to let me know if I'm wrong. I think that's it for tonight. Like, sucks at 0-2, but it is what it is. I think we can raid Minguchi here. Anybody have any questions for the list? Like, I think the first thing I want to do is, well, I'm going to drop this from this league, but at 0-2, I don't want to pair into more 0-2 stuff. But I think the first thing I want to do is cut the agent and maybe move the endurance back to the sideboard and play something a little bit more flexible. I don't think Shepard really would have mattered for a lot of those matches. Maybe that means it's the third Bowmasters. But I have to think about it some more. Like it against the Stoneblade player, we drew two endurances, and that's just a recipe for a loss, right? Like you draw endurance against the wrong deck, like two of them. So that was kind of my take on that. There's like some merit for dorks, but we like flooded out like crazy that game. I do think maybe another action spell, and I don't know if I don't really consider Bowmasters an action spell, but it might be better than the Shepherd for what it's worth. Ideally, we just have like another Fiend Artisan, but that doesn't exist. There's no world where that exists at the moment. Closest thing is Fauna Shaman. It's like way worse, right? One card actually that I have considered is hold on, what is it called? Is this like it's a big boy and double black is probably the hardest part, but you squint and you kind of see card advantage engine. I haven't tried it. I suspect it's not good though for what it's worth, but interesting to think about. Probably bad against the white decks too. There's Excavator, but that's like 3 mana. It feels way too slow. Yeah, maybe a third copy. I kind of don't like against combo, but it does. It is good against like the Echo decks, and that can otherwise be a little bit hard. I don't think questing means is the answer. Like payoff. Otherwise, I'd be playing just like the fourth natural order, right? Um, it kind of feels like I'm missing another good one drop or two drop. I don't love this in certain matches, but maybe three is okay, given that it pairs really well with Artisan, pairs really well with Guy's Cradle, obviously. Agent is a possibility in the main deck as well. I don't love the card though. Like I can see something like this going to the sideboard, Agent going to the main, but this was like way too slow, right? Like when we saw it. Yeah, and then Dork, I don't think we want that. I'll think about it some more. All right, thank you everybody for hanging out tonight. Here are my socials again, and then we'll go ahead and raid Andrea. Thanks again, everyone.